Hey there, Isaac from levergrowth.io, and in today's video, we're going to be covering the end-to-end complete cold email tech stack that we use as of August 2024 to book over 30 sales calls every single month. Now, this is going to be a overview of all of the different tech that we use outside of just writing the copy and creating offers. Now let's dig into it. So just want to start with a little bit of proof. If you want to look here, we got a list of Calendly events that we booked in the month of July. It totals 34, and Trustpilot review that we got a couple hours back showing 5-star review, just to show you that actually practice what we preach here. So let's actually get into it. And what are we going to cover? The three main categories in this tech stack. So we're going to talk sending infrastructure, we'll talk list building and data enrichment, and then the last is going to be client facing tech. Now, let's start with infrastructure. So there's been a lot of changes in the market, and there's been a lot of movement. In 2023, everyone was on Google. Then there was a movement towards Microsoft. And so I'm going to cover that in a second. But the key thing with cold email is always making sure that your infrastructure is dialed in and you're following the basic principles. So the way that we set up our infrastructure, we'll have 50 domains, 2 inboxes per domain. That's going to be 100 total email accounts, keeping your sending volume relatively conservative from 10 to 15 outbound emails per day. You can pump this to 20 if you really want to, but if you want to be really, really safe, you just keep it down to 10 or 15, and that'll get you 1,000 to 1,500 net new cold emails per day. If you're doing this and you're doing a lead to meeting ratio of 1 to 1,000, then that means you should be booking a meeting about every single business day. So let's talk about the infrastructure and what it looks like. So if you're familiar with cold email, you'll understand that the infrastructure is set up so it's distributed. And so the purpose of this specific infrastructure is to basically bypass spam filters by sending a small amount of emails from a lot of different email inboxes. Now, historically, that was done on a single domain, and then fast forward a little bit, it would be one domain and one email inbox. Now it's a little bit more diversified. So it's going to be one domain and then 2 email inboxes per domain. So this is what the infrastructure should look like. And so this is what we're recommending right now. So if you're going to be buying your domains, there's a couple different places you want to do it. Porkbun, Cloudflare, GoDaddy are all viable options. We've used all of these successfully, getting into the inbox with all of these. Now, when it comes to inboxes, as I mentioned, there's been a shift back and forth from Google to Microsoft and back. Now we're recommending a 50-50 split. And so this is what we're doing for all of our new clients. You have 100 new inboxes, 50 are going to be on Google, 50 are going to be in Microsoft. And so there's a number of benefits there. It protects you from any future changes from those email service providers. But then it also allows you to do inbox matching, which is what is one of the features inside of smartlead.ai, which is the software that we use for our sending. So once you have your domain set up, you have your inboxes, you attach them to SmartLead, which is going to send your emails and your campaigns. You're going to do your warming inside of smartlead.ai. That's also where we'll have the master inbox. And so there's been a lot of developments with SmartLead's master inbox, and it's gotten pretty good to the point where it's picking up replies in pretty much real time at this point. So it's a really, really strong option if you are looking to send emails at scale. In terms of how this funnel actually looks, right? Once you have all of these pieces in place, you have your domains, you have your inbox, you have your sending software, and you have your campaign and your lead list and your offer, you then launch it and it starts to go to market. Once you start to receive replies, you'll want to be delivering your lead magnets. So there's a lot of different ways in which you can deliver lead magnets. We use Gamma Docs, but one really strong way to convert cold leads into sales meetings is by delivering a lead magnet via a Loom video. So the Loom video is going to be suggesting to the prospect your offer, telling them exactly how you do it, talking about your case studies, your proof, and the results that you're able to get. And then you are compelling them to take action with your call to action inside of that Loom video and saying, hey, after you've reviewed this video, we should hop on a call where I can learn a little bit more about your exact situation. And, we could see if it would be a good fit to actually work together. I've been running these offers for my clients in August 2024, and they have been working really, really well. So once you actually get the call booked, the way that you want to do that is through the software called Calendly. So this is really helpful for just making the booking process super, super seamless. So instead of going back and forth over times, you can provide a time that you're available. And then in addition to that, include your Calendly link where they can just book in direct. Super simple, and it really helps improve your conversion rates overall. Once the meeting is booked, then you actually can create some pre-call flows in Calendly, which will allow the prospect to receive messages from you before the actual sales call. And then it preps them with whatever sort of resources you share with them before. So giving them your landing page, your VSL, your case studies, any other kind of content or lead magnets that you want to share with them that proves you're able to do what your offer is. That's going to be stuff you want to include in your Calendly. So that's really the tech that you need in order to go from A to Z and actually deliver a meeting to your own calendar using cold email. So now let's talk a little bit about how to actually build lists, because that's one of the most important parts of any cold email campaign. You have your infrastructure, you have your offer and your copy, and then you have your list. And so in the best case, your offer and your lead list are going to be intimately related because your offer is what you're offering to that list. So the list needs to be really, really targeted. So there's a number of softwares and different tools that we use to get good results. So let's just start with the B2B contact databases. And these are all different databases that we've used with success in the calendar year of 2024. So first, Apollo.io. This one is going to be an industry standard. It's relatively inexpensive, and it's a great place to build your lists. FindEmail is another great tool. It's going to verify your leads for you, and I've had a lot of great success with this tool. ICPs is another really solid email finder that is also relatively inexpensive, along with Prospeo and Drop Contact. And so all of these are just email finding services. So, you might be okay with just doing Apollo, but if you want to get some additional data coverage, then it's recommended to do a data waterfall and use multiple different data sources. And so bettercontacts.rocks, that is going to be another tool that does a waterfall for you, and it basically pulls all of these different tools and fills out your list at a greater rate than if you were to just use one or the other. The next tool that we use here is called clay.com. So if you've watched any of my videos, I've been doing some recent content around this. This is one of the best and most exciting tools of 2024. And this is basically a data workflow tool. So you can do anything from building lists directly in the software to doing AI research, to segment your list, to do personalizations. And a little hint here, if you have an OpenAI API key, definitely integrate it with clay.com. It's going to make your usage way, way cheaper. Another tool here, listkit.io. They have been crushing lately. They've been growing. Happen to know the founders of this company, really great guys. It has been a great tool, moving fast. They just released some intent data, so give them a look if you're looking for an additional data source. And then there is the bread and butter of all of the data sources, which is the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So most of the data that you'll see is getting pulled from LinkedIn. So that's just one you got to include on this list. So let's talk about data scraping services. So these are basically like ways to actually scrape more custom data. So you can go to different websites like Crunchbase or Clutch or any G2 or any other kind of reviews site and scrape data, or Google. And so this is how you do it. A tool called Instant Data Scraper. It's free. Can use this to scrape web page after web page and then collect a list of domains, which you can then enrich in any of the other data tools that I mentioned before. Outscraper similar, but this is really good for Google Maps scraping. Apify has a suite of different tools and scrapers that you can use, from Google Maps scraper to LinkedIn scrapers to Instagram scrapers to TikTok scrapers, everything in between. And then Phantom Buster is another scraper. Doesn't require as much technical expertise as a tool like Apify. And they come with these pre-built recipes where you can scrape followers of LinkedIn creator and scrape the people who are actually engaging with that LinkedIn influencer's posts. So that is another really solid way to build a high intent list. So for example, if you have a creator in your niche and they're posting on LinkedIn and you want to scrape the audience of that creator. So for example, you might be selling into marketing services. And so this is like a marketing leader or a sales leader. And so anybody who is commenting or replying or liking their posts, you can assume that there's some intent there. So Phantom Buster is a tool that you can use to actually scrape that data, which you then will enrich further, segment that out, target those good fit prospects, and reach out to them saying, hey, saw you are engaging with this specific person, so it probably means you care about XYZ problem. And that's how you would run that type of campaign. And then you have niche data sources. So Crunchbase, great tool to use if you are looking for funded startups, if you're looking for software businesses. Crunchbase is the go-to. Ocean.io, this is a tool that is blowing up. They have a really solid AI lookup. So basically, if you have a domain, you can just plug it into Ocean and it'll spit back a list of relevant companies that look similar to the domain that you provided. And the way that they do that is through a AI algorithm that they have. Another tool here is called StoreLeads, which is a e-commerce focused platform. So this is really good if you are targeting e-commerce brands. So you can scrape domains off of StoreLeads as well as additional data, enrich them with relevant contact information, and then do outreach to those good fit companies. Then this one here is BuiltWith. BuiltWith is going to be a great software if you're doing technographic searches. So if you're looking for a company that uses a certain CRM, like perhaps they use HubSpot or maybe they use ServiceTitan, if they're a home services business, and you can use the technology to use that as intent to actually do the outreach to those prospects. So those are some niche data sources that we're using with success right now. And then we have millionverifier.com data validation tool. So this is going to be where you want to verify all of your email addresses. Best case, you are validating your emails every single time you're sending out within the day or the previous day. Super, super important here. And the reason why this is important is because if you send any emails to non-valid contacts, they're going to bounce. The higher your bounce rate, the worse your deliverability, the worse your deliverability, the worse your ability to actually get results with cold email. So this is boring, but 100% essential. So now let's just talk about some of the different tech that we're using for anything related to our clients. Pretty simple. We're using Airtable for anything related to inbox management or inbox manager escalation. So if we have questions or we want to figure out how to respond to something, it's going to be stored inside of Airtable, which is also where we track all of our meetings for reporting purposes. We're using Slack, which is for comms, just ongoing communication with the client, and then also any reporting. Then we'll just use G Suite for document sharing, giving lead lists, giving campaign copy. And then last, we are using 1Password for secured password sharing. If you're not using a password sharing service or a password security service like 1Password, you're putting yourself at risk. And so we just make sure that all of our data is secure, our clients' data is secure. And so we use 1Password to do something like that. But this is pretty much all you need to be able to run cold email in August 2024. Now, this is a very brief overview of exactly what you need to do. That's it for this video. I will chat to you in the next one. Peace.